Anytime the government is mandating something, we should all perk up and say, what's really at play here? When they say, we are not going to fucking frack, instead, their favorite word, we're going to renewable energy, wind and solar. What's really at stake here? Is Nancy fucking Pelosi hedging all of her investments into green energies because she knows in 2 years the government is going to do the biggest subsidy of all time and pump billions of dollars in an industry that would have failed? Or does Nancy Pelosi really think that New York City is going to be underwater in 2 years? Like they keep saying, and it keeps not happening. And guess what? People that are all making these predictions, none of them are coming true and no one's calling them on it. Imagine if you were Kramer doing bets on the stocks. In the last 10 calls you've made of buy, tanked, and everyone lost their portfolio. Do you think anyone's going to Kramer for fucking financial advice on stock trading?
Hell no.
Right. That's what's happening with the fucking climate right now. You're listening to the Born Primitive Podcast. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Born Primitive Podcast. How we doing, Tone?
Morning, Bear.
Did you get it in this morning?
Yeah, I had a dynamic lower body, so some speed squats, some RDLs, and then some like hamstring curls. So, yep.
There it is.
Yep.
We were at the range this morning shooting the staccato 2011s.
Yeah, I thought you were feeling frisky with your outfit this morning.
No.
You came in, I'm like, damn, Bear's going full off.
I looked like John Rambo. I changed my outfit,
Yep.
so I'm dressed somewhat regular at the moment. I should have rocked it.
That would have been funny. Yeah.
Do I still have a line in my headband
A little bit.
line in my forehead from the
Yeah.
headband? All right.
Yeah.
Well, we can fix that in post.
It'll be all right.
All right. Well, today's a freaking serious one. And this is just an episode with Tony and I. There's no guests. And some of you might have caught the censorship episode that I did solo a while back. If you didn't, might be good to roll back the tape on that one, as this is kind of a sequel to that, but definitely not a prereq. I want to do an episode, an updated episode on censorship. And to me, this is a critical topic that we all need to become more savvy on and more aware of. And fortunately, it's getting talked about more, but I think some might not grasp how serious it really is. And hopefully in this discussion, we can kind of course, from my standpoint, and then you can chime in and shoot me down if you want, Tony, but from your standpoint as well. And what kind of brought on this topic is just a few days ago, Zuckerberg wrote a letter to Jim Jordan in Congress, basically acknowledging that they had censored all kinds of content on their platform. And that, specifically a lot of COVID content, which, we've spoken about COVID a little bit. We even had a doctor on who kind of got totally blackballed for being outspoken about what he was seeing versus like kind of the rhetoric that was getting pushed. And, he was a practitioner seeing it with his own two eyes and was kind of like, wait a second, like what the fuck is going on? And he got totally crucified for, dude's a doctor, right? He was like running an ER, right? So we've dabbled in these topics. We actually got put in podcast jail, episode 3, I think it was, for literally talking about fitness as an alternative way to combat COVID instead of like, vaccines and things like that, which we weren't even anti-vaccine. We were literally just talking about like we should embrace a healthy lifestyle because this should be a lesson. Because if you were fit and healthy, COVID didn't fucking matter. Bottom line, fight me on it, but that's the truth. How long were we in COVID? For like 2 fucking years. How long did it take to get fit? 4 months? At right point when that shit popped off, we said, all right, everyone's getting fucking fit. We wouldn't have had it. But you can't talk about that, right? So we've dabbled, we've seen repercussions on a personal level as a brand, but content creators, YouTubers, people on social media, they've created an environment where if you speak against the narrative, there have become consequences. And for some people that make a living through that, that's a pretty serious thing and a pretty massive incentive to not speak out, right? If imagine if the way you support your family is through YouTube content, and that YouTube can literally turn the off switch on tomorrow, you'd probably, all right, I might not be vocal on that particular topic. I'm gonna let this one ride, and we'll let the perception of prevailing thought, win the day, even though it's not. Maybe the loudest voice is 5% of the actual population, or it's just straight disinformation that's allowed to resonate with no opposition. So let me get to the letter, and then we can get into this. I'm going to read just 2 of the paragraphs, but this is coming from Mark Zuckerberg, August 26, 2024, to Jim Jordan, and I'll preface this. I appreciate Zuckerberg owning this. Where I'm not sold on yet is this damage control, because he knows fucking Donnie T's coming in the White House in January, and it's game the fuck on when they're in the seat, and there's going to be consequences when they can prove all this. Or is this genuine? Is he realizing, all right, hey, we totally screwed up. I know he's been doing more MMA and he's rolling with different guys now. Hey, maybe these guys have rubbed off on him and he's not some Silicon Valley dork Harvard boy. And he's like, hey, this is kind of affecting all of society. I also want to recognize the complexities at a platform like Meta of how difficult it would be to have a SOPs in place to distinguish between misinformation and regular and this. He's got governments hitting up saying, like, you need to take this down. I mean, imagine the shit show just that they have to manage, right? So, like, I want to recognize that, but I'm not going to give them a freaking pass on, like, oh, well, then, you did the best you could, because this was fucking deliberate, what I'm about to read, and there's no excuse for that. So let me get into it. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take the content down, and we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today. Like I said to our teams at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. All right, break. In a separate situation, and this is probably even bigger than the first one, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family in Burisma in the lead to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. We've changed our policies and processes to make sure this doesn't happen again. For instance, we no longer temporarily demote things in the U.S. while waiting for fact checkers. All right, Tony, which one do you want to hit first, COVID or freaking laptop?
Let's do the laptop one first.
Okay. So let's frame this up, because we're all busy and it's hard to keep up on the news, but let's oversimplify what happened here. FBI got possession of a laptop in 2019. Hunter Biden, being the idiot he is, took this thing into a computer shop to get fixed. This dude comes across some shady material, gives it to the FBI. The FBI sits on it. October, or I believe it was fall of the following year, around the election, right? This dude realizes he made a copy of it, which was the funny part. So there was two. So the FBI took one, and he was like, well, before he gave it to him, he made like a duplicate, right? In this, there were blatant, obvious, information that showed a potential tie to, foreign dealings, including Burisma. As we know, Hunter was on like the board of Burisma, a notorious organization in Europe that is corrupt and, with the ties to Ukraine and all these other things, right? So the FBI has it, doesn't do anything. So finally, this guy gives it to Giuliani, and then Giuliani gives it to the New York Post. In it, there are emails that have since been validated talking of all these potential dealings. And to oversimplify it, if a guy who's about to become the president of the United States, if there is a chance he's been corrupted and has basically been bought by another foreign government, that is a major cause for concern for obvious reasons. Whether that is actually true or not, people had the right to know of the existence of these materials right before they casted their vote in November. That is obvious, right? If you said, all right, there is a chance that this guy is getting bought out by some corrupt Ukrainians, as well as another dealing with China, which was included in all of this as well. You remember the 20% for the big guy? That was a Chinese corporation. Biden's business partner went to the FBI, gave them all of this because I think they had a falling out, and he was like, all right, F this guy. I'm going to turn myself in, but I'm going to throw them under the bus at the same time. Met with the FBI, closed doors, gave them all the details, all the, here's text messages, here's voice recordings, here's this, here's that. You know what the FBI does in response to all of this? They reach out to Meta and X and say, there's going to be a Russian disinformation story breaking very soon, and you need to know that because we have intel that confirms it's definitely Russian disinformation. So you need to squash these stories immediately because it could have a huge impact on the election. Which I would say if it actually was like a Russian, like if that was real, one could make the argument that, yeah, that needs to get like immediately put out that this is not real, because there are real dangers to the opposite of this. If you just say, hey, free reign, anything goes, people can manipulate all kinds of stuff to insert propaganda. So it's not like there's not an easy solution to this. But they had no intel at all that there was any Russian collusion case. They had taught this was their go-to. They did it in 2016. Never fucking happened. It's like because everyone will believe it. Everyone thinks like the Russia's this like crazy like CIA state and they can do all these things and they're, you know what I mean? So just call it Russia disinformation and everyone will buy it, right? So that's what they did. Zuckerberg even had a Freudian slip when we went on Rogan before this letter a long time ago and said, yes, they called me immediately and was like, make sure you squash this because it's fake, right? So what did they all do? They try to break the story. Anyone who posted about it, what was this, weeks before the election, it didn't get the time of day. People's accounts were shut down. They were canceled. YouTube creators, you can no longer monetize your content. It was an immediate, overwhelming response to squash this because imagine if you're a Democrat, this could be devastating. Our guy might be in with the Ukraine, some shady Ukrainian business as well as China. Not good for business. He lost in Georgia by 10,000 votes. You're telling me if this had not been allowed to be circulated like it should have been, which has now been validated as true, the emails in the laptop, the potential corruption, they haven't been able to prove that there was 100% connection, but you can deduce from all of the things in here, the 20% for the big guy, the text that said, my dad is sitting here right now. Are you guys going to do this or not? Or there's going to be consequence. Yeah, like you don't have to be a rocket scientist to say there's a pretty damn good likelihood that something shady is going on and that this guy who's now the leader of the free world might be corrupted by some type of foreign entity. That's a reasonable statement to make regardless of your political affiliation. And if you're not willing to acknowledge that, you have the strongest case of confirmation bias of all time, and you need to check yourself. Because I know if you want the Dems to win, that's fine. But if you can't actually see this for what it is, that's another thing we need to get past is the insane confirmation bias that we all live in. And we just, entrench our positions, and it's like, no, I can't be wrong. It's like, this is so fucking obvious. So that's one. He admits it. The people that were the conspiracy theorists, is Zuckerberg now a conspiracy theorist too? The guy who owns Meta? You know what I mean? All right, I'll pause. What do you got, Tony? Response.
No, I mean, you and I were talking off air. I think we're you and I, because everything here, like, agree. And the confirmation bias, agree. I think the spot you and I may be able to discuss this more thoroughly is, and it's typically the way my brain works, which is a little more like zoomed out, because as much as I stay off social media, I'm certainly not the personality to just put my hole in a head and not listen. But I try to go kind of maybe a little more backdoor into the issue. And with this one, as soon as you said you wanted to talk about this, like, and you and I have discussed this before, is like, this isn't unique. Like, and I told you right before we came on air, like, misinformation, like, and here's where we may disagree a little bit. Like, right now, I will say straight up, the Democratic Party right now, what they're doing to mass media is embarrassing. And it's a complete degradation of our country's values, and I think the freedoms that we were founded upon. But what I have to caveat is, like, this has been done by both Democrats and Republicans for decades and centuries. Now, the platform has changed. It started with, let's say, newspaper. Then it went to radio. Then it went to television. What we saw now is there's internet, and now there's social media. So what has happened is, wherever the eyes go, and here's where we could relate to our conversation with, like, what's the guy's name that was at Anheuser-Busch?
Oh, Anson Frericks.
Frericks is that, and here's where I not even want to be careful, but the name you put to it, put whatever name you want. Some people call it deep state. Some people call it, let's call it the powers that be. That there is a group of powerful individuals behind governments that actually, I think, makes a lot of the the power plays that happen in our world. So what's happening here is that it's actually whoever is a part of the establishment is the one who does the manipulating, but that's not just unique to the Democratic Party. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at something, I'm sorry, like the Iraq War. Like, 9/11 was a tragedy.
Well, hold on. Iraq War, 75% of Congress voted for it.
Oh, I know.
75%. That was not a Republican thing. Now, obviously,
right. I'm just saying the channels, though, if you look at what happened with, like what Fox News, like, if you go back and review what was being said then, it'll make you vomit because there was so much just bullshit.
And that, of course, goes into, like, you know, of course, it was justified at the time by WMDs, right? This is going to be a rogue state actor. He's got WMDs, and he's going to deploy them because the dude's a maniac. Right. That was the justification that was sold to the public. The Intels was actually reporting that. So the crazy part about that is, like, who is driving the false intel? Well, you know what I mean? And that gets to the bigger picture.
And that's what
the big state.
Exactly.
And then it's like, you know, and let me be clear. Both sides of the aisle, for the most part, I hate politicians. I think there's some ones that are there that are doing it for the right reasons, but I think either it attracts that corrupted individual already, or they get there and they see behind the curtain and they go, oh, this is how it works. And they go, hey, man, you're going to get really rich, but you got to play by the rules, and here's how you're going to get rich. And, like, you know what I mean? I think that there's a portion that's how it goes. So I kind of hate both sides, to be honest with you.
And what I told you is, and it's actually by no means is what you said do I look at and be like, Bear, that's a positive, because that quite literally is, like I said, the degradation of, like, literally the structural integrity of our country. But there is a side of me that, like, the silver lining is that you can view this as people have access to more information now than ever. Now, with what you just said, you have to be careful, because if all the information people access is bullshit, then you're just brainwashing people. But what I will say is that even more than, say, 20 years ago or 40 years ago is, if you look deep enough, even if it's Google, even if it's Meta, you can there are parallel systems being created. Now, they're one in a few, like X is a good one now since Elon, but, like, even DuckDuckGo is a search engine, Rumble is a YouTube, like. Now, they have nowhere near the eyes that YouTube has, that Google has. But what's happening is parallel systems are being created where these bullshit propaganda campaigns, people are sniffing out now. So the silver lining is that people are waking up. And that's why I actually think the conversation has to be had more and more, because actually once people open their eyes to it, it becomes silly. You see the same tactics being used. And I'm sorry, COVID, there's some things happening right now I won't get into that, like, smell eerily similar to what started COVID. Like, the same playbook literally keeps getting rolled out over and over. And that's what, like, I wrote down before we came in, because I love this quote. Edward Bernays in 1928, he was the guy that founded public relations. So even us now, we use, like, a PR for, like, PR has become a very common thing we talk about. In 1928, he is quoted saying, "The intelligent manipulation of the masses is an invisible government which the true ruling power in our country use," or which is the true ruling power in our country. Like, and that to me just showed, like, this has been going on forever. And as much as right now, and that's why I love your passion about it, is, like, it's coming to a head. And I actually think it's like a monster in its, like, death throes trying to, like, cling. And you see the desperation now. And I'm sorry, it is like there is one side that's very desperate right now, that the truth is out the window, and it truly is just, like you said, how can we confirm our position over and over?
Well, did you see what MSNBC just did with Rogan?
No.
They cut up a video of him
yes, I
fake
did.
singing praise for Kamala Harris. Do you know who he was singing praise for?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard, the person who they're saying is a Russian operative and is on a terror watch list.
Terror watch list.
A former Democrat that just endorsed Trump. They took sound clips of Joe Rogan. This is MSNBC. This shows they have no moral compass at all. It's win at all costs, do whatever it takes. And then they spliced in clips at the end of him saying Kamala can win because, like, the media is, you know what I mean? And they mash those two together. Are you kidding me? That's the media we're dealing with. It's insane. No, I don't. Is he going to sue him, or they took it down, like, immediately?
He sued him. At least the last time I saw.
I hope he sues him into the freaking Stone Age, because that. Do they think they're going to get it? And it goes to show you how reckless and how bold they are. Because do you think in the modern internet, I mean, Joe Rogan's going to remember what he said. He's going to see it and be like, I didn't fucking say that.
They sued him.
What? So it shows you the audacity they have. It's like just shotgun blast up. Just hit them from as many angles as you can, misinformation. And I totally agree with what you said. And, you know, it's like you go back to Iraq. Like, a lot of money can be made when you can rebuild a nation.
Never
right?
waste a crisis.
You know what I mean? So that's where it gets really interesting, and we can put our tinfoil hats on, and there's a few other components to it as well. But I ultimately think, and if you're like super diehard Democrat, let me kind of soften what I'm saying a little bit. I actually think they're playing all of us. Like, I think that that they're separating the right from the left, in creating animosity amongst each other. That they're manufacturing it for their own gain. Both sides are at the top, right? That's how they make money. And it would almost be like if you have some crazy like divorce going on, and like the two attorneys are just riling you up to like make you mad, and maybe they're feeding you fake stuff. That's what I feel like what we're going through right now. It's like, well, I didn't say that. And you know what I mean? And the lawyers just keep getting paid because they're like, we love this. Let's keep them. You know what I mean? Let's continue this case. Let's appeal it because we can. I feel like we are in a real world version of like a contested divorce case where the attorneys are just stoking the fire so they can get paid more.
And then and you've seen me get actually. I think your passion you have now is where I get really passionate about. Is that I think what you said is 100% correct, and I think if you look what actually. And this is, I'll interject my own opinion, but like what the things they aren't talking about, that's what's driving me crazy. That our soils are going to absolute shit, that our food supply is being manipulated, that our water supply is being manipulated. And who is doing that? You peel back the layers on that. Some certain names keep popping up. And then guess what? Those same names are the ones that are contributing millions and millions and billions of dollars to these organizations that are controlling the narrative. So like you said, it's a smokescreen. It's literally like, and now some of it, that I think it's good though. Like, and it's good that we're talking about it because people need to talk about that first, then to see what's actually going on behind it. But there is, when you look at then what the intention, and you look at like even COVID, like rolling out chips and different ways to track you so that you can't travel without in a social credit system, like all of these things 5-8 years ago, if you said, people were like, oh, Jesus, dude, like, come on. Like, but then when you look at actually behind the scenes, what has happened in other countries, and then what is baked into some of the policies that they're trying to enact that were tied to COVID and stuff, it's like, no, this isn't far-fetched anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's scary because what you had said off air was, hey, this is actually, there's now more ability for people to speak out against this, but I think you're partially right, but you're partially wrong because the main mediums are controlled by the big tech. You know what I mean? It's what is it? It's Meta, it's Google, and it's X now. Thank God for Elon Musk. He might be where we make our last fucking stand. You know what I mean?
What did he buy X for?
Probably so for free speech.
No, how much? 40 billion,
something like that. Yeah,
you have to pay that to actually be able to speak your mind
exactly.
out. Unless you have that.
But even when he did the interview with Trump, he had European countries hitting him up in advance saying, you better not air this in Europe or we're going to like sue you. It's like, what? I'm having an on-air interview, live interview with the most likely next president and former president, and I have Europe hitting me up saying we better not air this. Are you fucking kidding me? But here's the thing. The fact that they are so afraid of Trump getting elected, to me, tells me that is exactly who needs to be the fucking president. Because they know that what is coming, because the good thing is you can't buy Trump. That's why I think he's the most dangerous candidate and why there's all these people, if this whole deep state and whatever you want to call it does exist, they're the ones shitting their pants right now. Because they're the ones that this guy, we can't buy him. He's a renegade. Maybe he's a bit of an asshole and this and that. But the reason so many people are deploying everything at their disposal to stop him, you saw how many freaking impeachment attempts. Then they, raided his Mar-a-Lago place. Then all these indictments. You have a chick from 36 years ago claiming that he sexually assaulted her in some changing room at Macy's or some shit like that. You don't think that's an operative that was sent to, you know what I mean? They've thrown everything at this guy. Have they ever done that to any candidate in history? But look, they didn't do that to Mitt Romney. You know what I mean? They didn't do it to Bush. It was politics were still nasty, but it was just a good old fashioned like this. It's a debate, and like you have your ads. This is taken to a whole nother level. So to me, it's like, why all of a sudden are they trying so hard to stop this guy? It's not just because he's an asshole. No, never Trumper. You're really doing that because he's a dickhead, really? You know what I mean?
Well, and that's where the obvious comes in is like, and here's another silver lining. I love now who's starting to come together. It's like from a policy standpoint, RFK and Trump don't align on a ton. But guess what's happening now? Anyone that isn't a part of that establishment is starting to say, and here's where I do have a deep respect for RFK, for him to say, you know what? We disagree on a ton, and who knows? There is probably still some politicking going on, and who knows if he actually like joins his team after. But for him to even come out and say like, hey, I now endorse him. I'm stepping out of those states. What's Tulsi Gabbard doing? Like everybody now it's people that, although on a policy standpoint may vary or be at opposite ends of the spectrum, are having the same conversation we're having. And it's getting back to like what I think is truly almost like an essence of our founding fathers of like, hey, we may disagree like very adamantly on these 6 things, but the 2 things that really matter, we agree on. Let's team up and we'll still go against each other. Lincoln was a great example of that. So like there is another silver lining. And I think you're right. Like, I'm sorry, look at anyone now. Tulsi Gabbard, great example. RFK, what started happening every week when he started picking up momentum? Well, first off, he wasn't allowed on any platform. Second off, Apple started releasing a story. Google started releasing a story from 20 years ago. And he came out and said, hey, I'm not a perfect man. I've done a lot of dumb shit. But it's actually laughable because the people, Tulsi Gabbard, like who I actually think would be a great president, like the hit pieces that come out, it's almost like, wait a second, you're telling me there just happen to be 3 hit pieces on all these people now that are like opposing what I would call the mainstream narrative. Like, come on, guys, like this is insane.
I mean, RFK, the media wouldn't give him any interviews.
No.
He's the independent candidate.
No.
And I like RFK. Like, you know, I definitely disagree with some of his policies, but I like the way he approached it. He owned some mistakes when he was younger, and he said, hey, you know, this is kind of what I stand for. But, you know, like it was like this guy was likable. He's in Venice Beach.
He's a real human.
He's hitting a pump with the boys, got the shirt off. I'm like, all right, if this guy were to become the president, you know, and he was the Democratic candidate, I'd be like, all right on. Like, it's not the end of the world. When then you look at Kamala Harris and you look at, she just talked about price controls. Are you kidding me? Like, anyway, I don't want to get into, because that's not the point of this, but
in there too, like to once again, and I don't need to sidebar this into an RFK discussion, but like even the fact that and it sounds like him and Trump, like, and this is what encourages me, that they actually discuss these specific issues. How it plays out, who the hell knows? But the fact that he's willing to go after big pharma, that he's willing to go after some of these three-letter agencies that have proven to be extremely corrupt. Now, once again, there's some politicking happening there, but like big pharma, like what we're doing to our children, what we're putting in our children's body, what we're telling them it's healthy to eat, like that, his passion towards that, if he is able to, like, if Trump gives him some sort of cabinet position, like that is the shit that has to be addressed, because it's fucking sickening right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I loved his message of like, let's care about our kids more than we care about our politics, because there's things happening to them right now. We're more obese than we've ever been. There's now the
stats are insane
for type 2 diabetes for children.
Autism.
Like
you know, a stat I saw this morning.
It's 1 in 23 now, or 1 in 33 or something.
It's 1 in 35, but in California it's 1 in 22. It used to be 1 in 1,500.
Yeah,
that is insane. So yes, there is a bigger problem here, and they're creating diversions, and it's so crazy, man. Let's talk Google real quick. I got it on my phone. This shit is fucking insane. I'm sorry, I'm dropping. I hope my mom's not listening. I'm fired up today. And I didn't even do
how much caffeine this morning?
Not that much, and I didn't even do back squats. Like usually, I'm coming in straight out of a lift, and I'm all amped up from that. All right. After the Trump assassination attempt, this is not new to a lot of you. Google was, and there's way more with CNN and the headlines like Trump falls at this, and it was so ridiculous. They were just so unwilling to say that he got shot in the face and he lived, and there was an assassin. Like it was like we all saw it. Why are you? I tried to type in at 6:51 p.m. assassination. I typed in every letter. I typed in assassination attempt on TRUM. Okay, that's what and we all know Google. You think about like a freaking something crazy in your head, and you type in like 2 letters, and it finishes your phrase, and you're like, how the hell do they know that? So we've all done that. So you know how sophisticated Google is in knowing exactly what you want to search for after you type in like 3 letters. A day after the assassination attempt of a former president, where his ear got basically shot off, I type in almost verbatim minus the final letter. And you want to know the first suggested search below it? Assassination attempt on Truman. That happened in 1950. Not very relevant. 74 years later. Trump, you want to know the next one? Nothing about a assassination. Number 2, Trump's indictment. The fake indictments. The third one, Trump's case. Fourth one, Trump's indictment again. They repeated indictment. Fifth one, Trump's case. They repeated case again. And then it was just literally ... Truman. That's weird. And then the last suggestion is the assassination attempt on TRUM. It didn't even finish the word. Those were the search. You know what I mean? Okay, so this is obvious. This is deliberate. This is the most powerful search engine on the planet. It's crazy sophisticated. We don't need to explain that. You're telling me a day after the assassination attempt of the 45th president of the United States, with 350 million people probably searching this on their platform, those are the recommended suggestions that come up, right? That was obvious. And this dovetails into my next topic, is sources of information, right? So if this is one source right here, well, guess what they also have? AI. What are our kids going to do when my daughter's 20 and she needs to write a paper in college about political science and it's about the founding fathers? What is she going to do? What's she going to do? She's going to go into AI and she's going to say, AI, whatever, tell me about George Washington. Or, you know what I mean? Tell me about... The information that she's going to get is going to be controlled by an entity like Google, or Microsoft's big on the AI. Everyone's making a run at it. That someone's pulling strings behind the scenes to produce whatever that information is. We've already seen that with Google on examples I won't get into, but was obvious bias if you asked it a question. And they got dinged for it. I think their stock went down a few percentage points that day because it was so blatant. And they're like, oh, there was a glitch. It's like, there wasn't a glitch. You're inserting bias into a way that everyone's going to get their information from in the future. That is the future, right? So that's my concern is we potentially are going to allow these big tech companies to rewrite our history because for whatever reason, on the one side, man, there's no pride in our history. It's all shame. Oh, this guy was bad. This guy was bad. This guy was, George Washington, horrible person. Oh, Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, take the statue down. Rename that elementary school for Abraham Lincoln. It's like the dude ended freaking slavery. You're really going to rename an elementary school? You're that ashamed of this guy? That's what we have at stake. And if you rewrite history, you can change the future because we should be referencing history to, obviously learn from and, provide a solid foundation for, the good pieces of our history, right? And then learning also from the bad, right? We can all acknowledge that, absolutely an imperfect nation. But I think we've made some pretty damn good progress. But you think of the dangers of literally being able to rewrite history because it's one generation away from like literally being completely gone. What are you going to dust off grandma's old encyclopedia stack that was in her basement and go to letter D and read Declaration of Independence? You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. You're going to use your phone. So to me, it's terrifying that you have these big entities that can control what information is received. And they have the ability to cancel people that dissent in any way. And that's where it gets scary because that's what happened. We saw that in COVID to a crazy extent. And that's why, you see, here's the deal. Most people that are influential on social media platforms, most profit from that quite a bit. And a lot of people don't give a shit. They're just on there to be a presence and they don't try to monetize it. But a lot of people, that is literally how they make their living. So by definition, they are the most influential people on the platform because they have millions of followers. Most people see their content, etc. Right? So if you have a narrative being pushed and there's a need to dissent against that narrative, but there is a massive consequence to dissenting and it hurts them monetarily, the most influential people on said platform won't speak out against it. Right? Think about like sponsored athletes. You think they're going to say shit? Right? You know what I mean? If some crazy things gets pushed, very few have the balls. They'll either go along with the narrative because they're like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, or they won't say anything, right? And to me, that's the biggest danger because for the everyday Joe Schmo, it creates the perception of what prevailing thought actually is. And I hate to say it, man, a lot of people can't fucking think for themselves, right?
Agree.
They're going to be like, oh, is that what we're thinking? Oh, Trump this or oh, that? Yeah, okay, yeah, Trump indictment. Yeah, okay, right on. Yeah, price controls, love it. You know what I mean? And they're just going to follow the fucking herd, right? So if the true leaders are too afraid to speak because they're like, oh, well, if they shut off my YouTube channel, I can't feed my family. I'm making $20,000 a month on YouTube, and like literally, if I say one wrong thing about COVID, like literally my living, and you know what I mean, middle of a pandemic, you can imagine the immense pressure for these people. So it sucks because very few people have the balls to actually say what they think, and it creates this false sense of prevailing public opinion. But then guess what? You talk to your neighbor, you talk to the person at the checkout line at the grocery store, you talk to all of a sudden you realize, wait, no one actually fucking thinks this. So where is this coming from? Right? But that's where it's freaking scary. And and here's the thing, man. I used to not really be outspoken about this because, I was active in the military and I'm running this, and I was really afraid of like, man, this like you make one wrong thing with the brand, like, and we have employees now, like it's not my place. Now that I'm a father and I realize so many people just want and need to be led, guys like us that are natural leaders, it's our fucking obligation to lead now, right? If we just sit on the sidelines, oh, it's not my problem, I'm apathetic to it, like just let it play out, then we're fucking cowards. And I've come to that conclusion. And there's a lot of people that are out there that are making a lot of fucking money that are sitting on the sidelines and they're not saying a goddamn thing, and they know they should. So that's where I said there are things that I'm no longer willing to meet anyone fucking halfway on. And if you want to try to fucking blackball my business and all this, then fuck that. I don't give a damn, right? But that's genuine. That's me saying, all right, what is when my daughter graduates from college and goes into the working world? What environment is that, right? That's on us to freaking decide that right fucking now, right? And if I sit on my hands, oh, I want to do a deal with a private equity company and make a bunch of fucking money and live on the inlet and do all this bullshit. I'm going to sit on my hands and let all these people push this fucking narrative, and then 20 years from now, I don't recognize the country that I was born in. Little regret there, right? So it's getting fucking worse, man.
See, there's where I wonder. I think you and I may differ a little bit. Or do you feel yourself getting more pessimistic or more or optimistic?
I don't know. We'll see what happens in November.
Because I think I actually am more optimistic, but I'm always willing to call myself out that there could be some delusional optimism there. But I think, like anything, before something gets better, there's usually extreme chaos, and that's even in personal life. When if you truly want to make change in your life, you've got to usually drum up some shit that's been like stuck or stagnant for a while in order to step into a new version of yourself. And I actually think as a collective, we're going through that right now. Now, do I think, and this relates back to what we talked earlier, like we've used Democrat, Republican a lot. Do I think that just means that the right way is Republican? No, I think there's some values that you and I align way more on that side. But for me, it's what we talked about earlier. It's that this veil this smoke screen has to clear in order for us. And here's where I share the same passion when you talk about your daughter and like unwilling to like kind of budge anymore. Is like, I share that when it comes to like food sovereignty and water. Yeah. And like I'm reading constantly. I'm a nerd on that stuff, and just consciousness as a whole, because that's where the manipulation comes in. Is that I think and I think actually Riley Gaines said this, and now she may view it differently than I, but I agree. It's actually she said a spiritual war. It's a consciousness war, because when we realize the power we have as individuals and we actually step into that, all of these powers that be, their grip goes. It's an illusion. Their power is an illusion. But if we buy into it, and that's where you said, and I agree with, is like, if we as a collective can't think for ourselves, guess what? Like that smokescreen becomes our collective consciousness, and then our actions align with that. So I'll let you answer it as well, though, to the question I originally asked. Like, I actually am optimistic about it, because I think we have to go through this in order for us to wake the fuck up and realize, like, oh my God, like we've been getting like and you and I said this yesterday. We love to point the finger at other countries and say, China, they're so manipulated, the propaganda, they're so bad. Russia, I'm sorry, if you do a little bit of homework and have an open mind, like you realize we are one of the most propagandized countries in the world. And I'm sorry, that's just the truth. Yeah. Like, so I actually am optimistic, because I think that veil, and as I called out, like this shit's been going on for a long time. I think that veil is lifting, but I would love to hear because you said like you think it's getting worse. Do you remain optimistic in it?
Well, what I'm worried about, dude, imagine what you could do if you had $20 billion fucking dollars. Imagine the people you could influence and you could buy, right? And here's what happens, man. You get a little taste of being important and power. You want more of it. You become addicted to it. So some of these people that are the ones actually calling the shots behind the scenes, how does an everyday Joe Schmo like you or me disrupt that pattern, right? Beyond like literally like actual fucking revolution. right? And
But it's a shift. I think it's a shift in consumer behavior. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I hope so. But where it gets, and again, to kind of play both sides here, I told you, like, I generally have a huge distaste for all politicians. Again, I think there's some good ones that do it for the right reasons. But I think it's all about follow the money, man. At the end of the day, that's the one thing that fucking matters, and it's the root of all of this. You look at big pharma, you look at the military industrial complex, all these things. Even you could probably, Iraq war might be a good example. Was that a giant fucking business deal that they manufactured that then all these big contractors that got to rebuild Iraq literally just made billions with a B, right? And then all these politicians are getting kickbacks behind, you know what I mean? All of a sudden their next campaign is funded, so they get another re-election, another term. They know that book deal just went way up, and now their speaking engagements go away. You know what I mean? It's this system that I think is creating greed and a grasp for power that unless you are the most morally sound person on the fucking planet, it will corrupt you. And I think that's what happens in Washington, and it's both sides, right? You look at what we're doing with, sending money overseas. You know what I mean? Particularly Ukraine, and it's a very complicated situation. So I don't want to downplay that. But man, when you're $30+ trillion in deficit as a country, and inflation is through the roof, and your solution is to continue to print fucking money and send it to another country to give them a bunch of rockets and shit, it makes you wonder who's what are they doing this because they really think the state of Europe is here's the thing. You think Russia's really going to keep going west past Ukraine? Are you fucking kidding me? They can't even get through Ukraine, right? I saw a video of a fucking Russian tank column that got ambushed. This is day one shit. Immediate action drill. Set up a base of fire. Set up a maneuvering element. This army was so fucking bad, a whole tank column didn't know how to maneuver to an ambush, and they're in tanks. The Russian army is nothing what we thought it was. It's horrible, right? You think they actually have aspirations that, or under the illusion that they're going to invade and get all the way to fucking France, and we're going to be landed at Omaha Beach again? Are you kidding me? They're not going anywhere. And now, I got, obviously it's still sad to see it. Tons of people are dying on both sides, but it's like we're justifying, the fate of Europe is on the line. Like this is like, Adolf Hitler and the Nazis trying to take over Europe again. It's not even close to that example, but that's how they're justifying. We win at all costs. We have, it's better than our own men, blah, blah, blah. So just send, you know what I mean? And it's like, really?
Once again, same playbook.
And again, I feel for the people of Ukraine, and again, it's very complicated. So I'm not trying to get into like, let's argue about, whether that, but it's like when we continue to cut checks, it makes you wonder, are Democrats and Republicans on both sides of this all just getting fucking paid? Because guess what? The Lockheed Martins, they get the big $1 billion contract because it's got to be through a U.S. company. They're sending them all the rockets and everything. And, guess what? Now when it's time for re-election, you voted yes on that? Old daddy Lockheed's cutting you a nice little check for your campaign. And, then guess what? You got that book deal lined up. For it, these freaking Congress people are walking out with $100 million, right? And I guess that's where I think we need to, as Republicans and Democrats, the everyday people, we the people, need to realize we're all getting fucking played by both sides, right? And there's a very few people at the top that are making a fuck ton of money, and they're controlling everything at the detriment of our fucking society. And they don't give a shit. They're gonna have their fucking 1,000-acre ranch in Aspen and their private security and all these in their private jets. They won't be affected by any of this. But when a freaking single mom her grocery bill that used to be $150 is now $300, and that $150 delta is the difference. That's 5 or 6 hours of work in her work week, and she's going to the store twice a week to feed her fucking kids. That's where it becomes a big fucking deal, right?
When I actually think it's power over you. I think at a certain level it's money, and then I think if you go even deeper than that, it's power. And I think they actually they see themselves, I think it's like the ultimate narcissist, is they actually view themselves as a sort of god, and they see other humans as a bit of a commodity, like as something like to suck the energy from. And I say that because I actually think that is like the optimism in me says that people will start to just not like there is an engagement in which we all have to play into it in order for their power to keep working. Meaning, like, now that's not easy, but here's where the meat guys that we had on a couple months, or actually that was probably almost a year ago now, talked about is like, there has to be parallel systems that start to get created, because if the systems they control are no longer being used by consumers, it won't keep working. Now violence steps in, or like, that's where you started to get into the chips and stuff. Like, there are things in the works that like could prevent like people even from the ability to then be sovereign. But until then, parallel systems have to pop up, and then we can't just talk about it. We have to start engaging with them. So like the Google example, and of course I'm a dork, but like, what I have DuckDuckGo on my phone. So when you search that a thing, I can promise you it's not giving you a biased thing. Now that's right now. And it like, it's wild to do the same search on Google versus there. So if we start as people start to make those decisions on an individual level, the hope is that some of those systems would start to rot. And I actually do believe they would, because that's, our energy is actually the fueling source for a lot of these systems to keep them going. And that's why you and I, at times, I've talked to you and we're always joking about it, is like the news I disengage from, because I actually do believe that is that engaging with either side, that doesn't mean you want to be uninformed, and that doesn't mean you just be an ostrich and stick your head in a hole, but like engaging with it at all, you are stooping to the level at which you're engaging with either side. Now, like we've talked about over and over here, there is one side that's using manipulative tactics more than the other, but historically they've both used them. And as soon as you start to engage with that, you're now contributing to a system that needs to fold onto itself in order for us to create something better and new.
Yeah, man. I mean, these next few months are going to be fucking nuts.
I'm there, like I said with the code thing, and I don't even want to. We can maybe get into it later, but like there's some things popping up already in the world, like the new monkeypox thing. Like
of course,
there's a playbook that's going to get,
and there'll probably be a high profile police shooting here in the next month. That would be very convenient. Just get everyone fired up. Let's do some rioting again, right? It happens every 4 years. If you look at look at our elections, was it Baltimore with Hillary, and then it was of course Minneapolis, right? So yeah, maybe you'll get monkeypox and another high-profile police killing that will get blasted all over. You know what I mean, right? And we'll do that in October. Just make it crazy.
Here's once again the optimism coming in is like, and I don't know. Maybe here's where I'd like to call out our own like echo chamber, but I'd like to consider even I love challenging my own beliefs, and what I'm finding is even people that 4 years ago would have told me to shut the fuck up are now at least having a conversation about these things where it's like, yeah, I'm not, and I saw it in COVID. I mean, that was hard, man. There were personal relationships where people were attacking me because I was, even with our children at the time, like that's right when we both had children. It's like, no, like you're not telling me what to do with my children's body. You're not telling me what to do with my body. And if like you can't handle that, then I'm sorry. Like I'll maintain a friendship with you. But there were personal people that like felt attacked by certain belief systems. And now what I'm seeing is that has gotten better. Now there's where I want to call out, like maybe it is a personal echo chamber, but I do think people are waking up more, and that as these things roll out, people aren't engaging with them anymore. Do you know what I mean? Meaning like they don't have the control on the consciousness of people that they had even 4 years ago, at least from my perspective.
Yeah. But I think that's why, to the point, if you're a fucking leader, you have an obligation to our society to lead. Doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, whatever it is through contested dialogue that the ultimate truth can be found. But as soon as you muddy the waters and prevent one side to give their opinion, right, that whole model goes out the window. Particularly when it's like, not only are we not going to give you the platform, but there is going to be consequences if you even try to say something. And that's where we were in COVID, right? We had people literally getting fired. We had companies doing vaccine mandates. Companies that are competitive in our space. Hey, go get the jab or you're fucking fired, right? Guys in the SEAL teams. Hey, get the jab or turn in your fucking rifle and body armor. Crazy. And we were like, we're still just figuring this thing out. You come to me and like, hey man, what do you do? And I'm like, we ain't fucking doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do we do if someone has symptoms? I don't know. Send them home. Show goes on. We're a bunch of fucking fit 30-year-olds here. Go work out, eat healthy, sleep, and the show goes on. This is not going to affect us. It's either that or, guys, we all lose our jobs. Take your pick. We're not AT&T. We're not freaking American Express, where we're just going to all take a knee for 18 months and hope this thing rides out. No, we were right on that.
100%.
The show went on. We assumed risk. We gave people the ability, hey, if you're not comfortable here, you have a job the second you come back, because this is so complex. I'm not going to hold you at fault if you're scared or you got an autoimmune, whatever. Because this is all real information. I mean, in the moment, you didn't even know what was going on. I didn't know if this was going to morph into like a 50%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all these other companies were bending a knee, and that's where it gets like, fascinating and scary. It's like, how much of that was pushed because Moderna and Pfizer saw this as an opportunity to make billions of dollars with no risk. That's the crazy thing with COVID, man. They were able to do this in a way that if something went crazy wrong, and let's say 5 years from now, we all had a fucking heart attack from this vaccine, right? There's no legal repercussions based on how they did this. The government is basically like, hey, we understand this has to be fast-tracked, so you will not be held accountable. Not only are we going to fund the research, but then you get to make all the money when you sell the damn thing, and we're going to mandate it. You want to go to a concert? Got to have the booster. You want to maintain your employment with the government? Model. Oh, the Department of Defense with 1 million people or whatever, and we probably have more than that. Every one of those people, it's literally you gave them a layup sales opportunity with no potential. There's no, imagine like some of these other drugs that they spend 15 years on researching, spend hundreds of millions of dollars on the off chance it gets approved by the FDA, and then they can make some money on it. They literally said, nope, don't have to do any of that. Not only are we going to give you the fast track, but we're going to fund the research, no repercussions. And then we're going to mandate it to all of the entire world. And then we're going to have celebrities promote that you should get your 9th fucking booster so we can just keep, make even more money after they get their 2 shots. Or, you know what I mean? That became such an obvious, in my eyes, this is such an obviously a money. And then, okay, what deals are getting worked on the back side of that?
Read The Real Anthony Fauci. Read that book.
Okay. And there you go. So how much money is Fauci making? Because again, especially in the medical field, when you go into your doctor, they carry credibility because it's like, this is the doc. They're the most like credible, you know what I mean, people, because it's like, it's such an advanced profession and it's so specific that if you go to the doctor and she says, hey, you got an earache, it's like, all right, doc, take the meds, and there's zero question. I'll go to the freaking Walgreens, I'll get it, and we're good. You had Fauci coming on and all these other proclaimed medical professionals saying, hey, this is really freaking scary. It's going to morph. It's going to evolve. It's going to become more lethal. You have to get ahead of this. You know what I mean? Blah, 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 blah. And as an everyday Joe Schmo, you kind of went with it because you didn't know. But as soon as there started to become, kind of cracks in the armor and some dissent, particularly in the medical community, like the doc we had, right? He's an ER doc running the show. And of course, they had the same reaction at first. And then he said, wait a second, this isn't adding up, right? There are alternative treatments. Wait a second, there's an alternative treatment, and yet anytime anyone goes on to talk about it, they're outcasted and immediately canceled. That's kind of weird. How wild is that? The fact that there were remedies to this, not cures, but there are ways to mitigate symptoms for people that really had bad, conditions that could have, absolutely lowered the mortality rate. And the people all of a sudden on one side are saying, how dare you talk about that? Rogan was talking about it, right? He got a bunch of shit for it. And now you have like some of these news hosts that ended up taking that medicine, right? And then getting called out on it. Cuomo's one of them. You know what I mean? He got roasted on one of these shows
by Smith.
Because the guy kept his receipts and he's like, wait, let me play the clip, and embarrassed the shit out of him, right? When he was the one, you got these guys like Rogan pushing these veterinary, in hindsight, it is so fucking obvious that, was there an unprecedented event? 100%. Was it scary? And, did we have to be sensitive to people that were more at risk? Were there real fatalities and real deaths? Yes. But at the same time, did we have to mandate 360 million people get a vaccine and then get number 2, then number 3, then number 4? Do we have to kick people out of the military for not getting, you know what I mean? It just became such a shit show. And I guess that's the last point I'll make is like, anytime the government is mandating something, we should all perk up and say, what's really at play here, right? If the government says by 2035, all vehicles need to be electric, on the surface, okay, wait a second. What's really at play here? When they say we are not going to fucking frack, drill for oil, etc., And instead, their favorite word, we're going to renewable energy, wind and solar, right? Okay. What's really at stake here? Is Nancy fucking Pelosi hedging all of her investments into green energies because she knows in 2 years the government is going to do the biggest subsidy of all time and pump billions of dollars in an industry that would have failed, right? Or is Nancy Pelosi really think that the fucking New York City is going to be underwater in 2 years, like they keep saying, and it keeps not happening? Okay, Nancy, why do you keep flying around a private jet with all your cronies if the carbon footprint is such a, I mean, the society is, at this dire risk, you know what I mean? And so I just hope that people will be a little bit more curious and call out a little bit more bullshit or just be more skeptical, because you can take the whole solar and green energy thing. If the government subsidizes an industry with enough money, it will, from an economical standpoint, it will succeed, right? So basic laws of supply and demand. Let's say it would cost you $25,000 to put solar panels on your house. And you did the cost analysis and you're like, all right, it's going to take me 25 years to get my money back on this thing. And right at the 25-year mark, like, I got to swap them out anyway. It's not worth it. It's not the risk. They can break, blah, blah, blah. No one would buy a goddamn solar panel, right? The government says, all right, Bear, hold on a second. It's going to cost you $25,000, but I'm going to comp you a $20,000 write-off on your taxes, right? So you're going to pay $20,000 less in taxes. Okay, now it's a $5,000 investment. I go, all right, I'm going to make this back by year 5, and then year 6 through 20, I get free. If I power my house for free, damn, that's a really good gig. I can, end up making thousands of dollars on that. And then it does feel good to have renewable. Yes, would I rather have solar than like burning coal and shit? Yes, we all would. It's not like we don't want to take care of the environment. It's not like, so that's where it gets crazy, man, because if Congress then subsidizes industries under this disguise of, this is because it's good for the planet, when in reality, all they're doing is working fucking backdoor deals to hedge their investments in front of those subsidies. Again, it's like, you guys don't give a shit about this. And that's where we need watchdogs, man. But the second you call that out, like, you're against climate change. And it's like, well, maybe I'm a little skeptical when every time they do the fucking climate summit, everyone goes there in a goddamn private jet. And then they say that in another 6 years, this place is going to be underwater. They've been saying that since early 2000s. And guess what? People that are all making these predictions, none of them are coming true, and no one's calling them on it. So when you say, in 2008, this is going to be happening, it doesn't happen, why is no one calling that guy and be like, hey, man, let's debrief that prediction you made in 2002 that had us make all these decisions because we thought this was going to happen in 2008 and none of it happened. Where did your modeling go wrong? Doesn't matter. They're on to the next prediction. Okay, by 2014, this is going to happen. These are the people that are in charge of all these freaking panels. No one's checking their fucking... Imagine if you were Kramer, doing bets on the stocks. In the last 10 calls you've made of buy, tanked, and everyone lost their portfolio. Do you think anyone's going to Kramer for fucking financial advice on stock trading?
Hell no.
Right. That's what's happening with the fucking climate right now. But these are the people that are all in charge. So it's just another example. It's like, we need to be fucking skeptical so that we can find the truth. But when you have people that are censoring everyone else and making a bunch of money on the back end and just making their lives richer and richer, when a Congress member leaves Congress and they're worth $200 million when their salary is $200K a year, how are all of us not acting fucking? And that's Republican, Democrat. I heard Mitch McConnell, he's got some ownership in some Chinese shipping company, right? And it's like, wait a second. Chinese shipping company, when I had to get investigated for my top secret clearance, which you all do, they literally will interview people like from your childhood. Like, I had a buddy that I hadn't talked to in like 20 years call me. He's like, hey, dude, some lady is talking to me about some secret clearance. You're like, what are you in the CIA or something? I was like, no, I'm in the military. Like, you can say how we went ding dong ditching, all these things. Like, it's not that big of a deal. They just want to make sure I am who I say I am and I'm not some Chinese asset or some shit like that. So they do all that for active duty military. And then you have a guy like Mitch McConnell who has a stake in a Chinese shipping company, and he's allowed to be a sitting member of fucking Congress with that. Like, what? How is that a thing? How as a Congress member are you able to have ownership or the trading, the insider trading? That's exactly kind of in line with what I was already talking about. If a giant subsidy is about to drop into an industry, buy every fucking stock you can in that industry, because when you subsidize it strong enough, it can't fail. It injects cash to create a market efficiency. That's the beauty of it, right? And in some cases, it can be good. Like if you had to achieve that market equilibrium, and you said this is a no-fail mission, that's when subsidies are a good thing. But when they become subjective, and it becomes the opinion of other people based on bad data and bad scientists that keep getting shit wrong, and then it affects other adversely. All right, not only are we going to subsidize this, but you guys drilling for oil in Pennsylvania, you're bad. You can't do that anymore. 500,000 jobs just fucking went away. Zero, right? That's what Kamala Harris was recommending. No fracking, no drilling under any fucking circumstances. But hey, we have renewables. We'll do wind and solar. And then by 2035, you'll have to have electronic vehicles that are $90,000, even though there's not enough charging stations. It looks great. You know what I mean? That's the fucking game they're playing. So anyway, I digress quite a bit.
All good stuff. I think my closing thoughts are as we kind of traverse through these strange times. I do think as much as like this is a passionate conversation and even borderline like anger at times, I know for myself and
Fuck
you,
yeah,
as,
I'm
you
angry.
as well.
I'm angry as hell.
I know. I do think that like I think as this plays out, the answer isn't to be. Let's use an analogy of like some people right now. I think are turning a blind eye to egregious things, but if they decide to open their eyes and view it, I don't think it's our job to berate them at how much they didn't see. Do you know what I mean?
Totally agree with that.
Because like the only way we progress out of this with using the word like unity is to have some forgiveness and realize like, because like you said, I think some people, and here's where like I could nerd out for a whole nother hour on like the development of consciousness and how important it is as children to allow them not only the freedom to fail, but build the strength of will where this shit becomes obvious when it happens, because I think we have a lot of people who were fed really shitty foods and had really shitty parents and never learned to think for themselves, who actually have very little intentionality in what they're doing right now, but that one day will have the awakening to say, holy fuck, what did I just buy into for 10 years of my life? And I don't think it's our job to then belittle them and create an even worse kind of dichotomy within our culture. I think it is like have hard conversations, be passionate, even use anger as a tool at times, but then as people open up to it, be willing to have forgiveness there, because I don't think we ever grow out of it if we don't do that.
I think that's a great call. And honestly, I think I think we're all types. Most of us are wired in a way that if someone shows humility and Rogers up about a mistake,
for sure,
we all should be in those situations tolerant of that and say, all good, you owned it. That's all it takes, right? That's in relationships. That's what, friendship, whatever. And I think, you see that with like some of these people that have come over to the Republican side. RFK, he didn't necessarily come over to the Republican side, but you saw what he did, and it was like people that were vehemently against his policies were kind of like, right on, man, like check.
Yeah.
And I think that is because imagine if all these people did have a realization of any kind, and then everyone else was like, it doesn't need to be I told you so moment, right? Because then it's like you might get right back into that vicious cycle. We're not trying to win here. We're just trying to, at the end of the day, we want the government to get the fuck out of our way, let us raise our children, and live happy lives. And stop pitting us all against each other. And stop creating fake villains, right? You're not a villain because of your skin color or your gender or your sexual orientation. You're not a villain if you are wealthy or you're not automatically oppressor if you're wealthy. Like, they create these fucking boxes, and it's good for business. It's particularly in elections. I'm convinced the reason they do it is literally just to win the next election. You know what I mean? Do you think the Democrats give a shit about some of the demographics that they claim to support? Do you think they go in bed at night and like, oh, this is my mission in life. I have to make this demographic that's marginalized advance in our society. Do you think that's what it's about?
Bullshit.
Or do you think we need these people to be fucking dependent on us because I want to get my ass reelected so I can get another fucking book deal, and when I leave here, my speaking engagements are $300K, and I can get more fucking deals with Lockheed Martin, and I'm on the board over here, and I write this second book. That's what they fucking care about. You think they give a shit about some inner city kid that doesn't have a shot? No, they need to create a narrative that this is the enemy. You're the oppressed. You know what I mean? And vote for us because we got your back. And that guy's bad. You know what I mean? Because of his skin color or because he's wealthy. And it's like, what? You don't even know me. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? That is not at all how I'm wired, and I don't care any about those things. You know what I mean? In fact, it's the opposite.
The guy I mentioned earlier, Edward Bernays, that said the intelligent manipulation of the masses is an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. That's the true. What makes propaganda work is that it pulls on emotional heartstrings, and it's not based in truth. Meaning, like, I bring it up again is because it relates to what you just said. Is if you can create controlling narratives that pull at the heartstrings of the masses, they will follow it. Because and there's where the forgivability comes in. Is there's a bunch of half-truths that get baked into these that make people resonate with it. But then when you really pull back the veil of what the intention was, it's all bullshit, at least in a lot of the cases. So yes, it's a great way to say that, like, that how that works is an emotional manipulation that happens in a lot of people's subconscious. But I do think people are starting to open their eyes to it. Yeah, and I remain optimistic that if we can continue to do that, that there will be a collective consciousness that no longer puts up with this bullshit.
I hope so. And I think it's one of those things where it's like a tipping point, right? Where it's like everyone's afraid to make the first move. But then when more people start doing it and, he's doing, you know what I mean? It almost like, all right, well, they can't get me because, like,
for sure.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's almost like if a bear was walking up on us and none of us wanted to run, but there's 20 of us in a group, like if 5 guys take off, everyone can take off because now you know what I mean? Like you got good, you can't get you anymore. You know what I mean? But it's like that first guy needs to fucking take off. You're not supposed to do that if a bear walks up on you, by the way.
Well, if it's a brown bear, you can't, or no, black bear, you can. I think brown bear and grizzly don't ever fucking run.
Yeah,
play dead.
They get off on that. They're gonna like, this is now the hunt is on.
In hindsight, when we went out to Wyoming, where we were walking, and I know Barry, like, or a couple employees were shitting their pants, and we kind of were just like, we're fine. In hindsight, and Aaron and I have even talked about this. What that could have been. That none of us had a pistol in their bear.
Well, not a single one of us has a gun. We're down in this valley that has giant grizzly.
Cars had been parking there for the last 2 weeks because that's
to watch for grizzlies with binoculars from 300 yards away. And we're down in this valley with fresh grizzly tracks. Aaron was like, that's like a 10-foot fucking grizzly. And we have this little drone. We're trying to get these cool shots for outdoor. And the scariest part was that last shot we did where I was walking off to the horizon. I had to go down into those bushes.
Like 3 foot high, like just.
And I'm like, there might be literally grizzly right there. You guys are never going to see me again. You know what I mean? And then we lose the drone in the trees.
Eventually, I knew when Aaron was like, all right, we got to get out of here.
Yeah. With Aaron saying that?
Yeah.
I think my closing thoughts are this, man. Any time from here on out, they're going out of their way to fucking censor people. That should be an immediate red flag to both Republicans and Democrats of, okay, what is actually going on here? Why did they react the way they just did right there? You know what I mean? Why? Particularly with Trump, it's like they've never done this with any president in history, and they're trying to just say, because it's never Trump because he's an asshole, and like it's so bad for our country that like we will do anything to stop him. And it's like, you're so full of shit. That's not the reason. The reason is because the people that are in power right now know the fucking pain train that's coming if he wins. Their gravy train of money's fucking gone because he's going to disrupt all their fucking deals. And there's probably going to be some criminal cases launched because they're going to be able to subpoena everything under the fucking sun to expose all this bullshit. Do you think they're really indicting this guy? He's got more fucking felony indictments than Al fucking Capone. I think Al Capone has 11 felony indictments. What did Trump have? 31? You kidding me? White collar crime, you got 31 felonies from that dickhead AG in fucking New York. If it's not obvious, and again, if you're a diehard Democrat, it's so fucking obvious. Remove your bias for 2 seconds. And I hope that if this happens, a Republican equivalent, you guys can call me out on it and I can say, yeah, I see it too, 100%. Does it help my political position in this instance? If that were to happen, yes, it does, but you know what? It ain't right. No matter how blatant it is, we've gotten so polarized that we can't see it through a clear lens. But right now, it's 100% the fucking Democrats. I'm going to call that out. There's going to be a time it might be Republicans. And those that are Republicans in those moments need to be the person that's willing to say, you know what? We're guilty of the same goddamn thing right now. We need to reel it in. Let's win on our merit. Let's win on our policies. We don't need to be doing all this shady shit behind the scenes to try to win an election to further enrich our lives. At the end of the day, this is to create a promising society so people can pursue their version of the American dream, and that's all that fucking matters. And the less government there is, the better. The government, aside from a few things, is not going to enrich anything you do, and they sure as hell won't make it more efficient. If you think throwing out private health care and having the government own it is going to create efficiencies, as Kamala Harris like to say, oh, let's just get rid of all that. Just simplify it. Then you don't have to shop around. Has anything the government ever run been efficient and turnkey? There's no financial incentive anymore. There's no competition, right? You want to send something FedEx or USPS? If your daughter's life is on the line and needs to get there overnight, which one are you using? FedEx or USPS?
FedEx.
Exactly, right? Point proven. Now apply that to every single case our government, everything they run, right? So people that are leaders need to have the balls to speak out, and that's on both sides of the aisle. If your beliefs differ, that's okay. But let's have an honest conversation about it, and let's not fucking gaslight each other about, oh, that didn't happen or this happened. If it happened, let's own it and let's talk about it and move on. And I just think that's the biggest thing. Because for a while, man, everyone was afraid to say shit, right? And you had a bunch of good dudes and good people that were leaders, that were quiet, and a lot of them still are. And eventually, I'm going to start calling people out that are true influences in our society and could really, I think, mend a lot of fences here. And they're staying on the sideline because they're making a ton of money. And it's like, ooh, one little misstep, I might alienate some of my audience. And it's like, hey, man, you have an obligation now because of your platform. And same thing with professional athletes. You see so many of them just sitting on the sidelines with some of these things. And it's like, you don't need them to get super political, but at a certain point, for common sense values, when things are just getting completely off the rails, I think more people need to have the balls, and just especially us, just as parents, when it comes to the school systems. Like, dude, when my daughter is, especially if she goes to private school and I'm paying like $30,000 a year or whatever the hell it is these days, if they're starting to push some crazy fucking narrative, I will be their worst fucking nightmare. I hope they're not listening, because eventually I have to go interview with these people. But you imagine if they try to push some.
I'm laughing because of you in a board meeting.
Oh no! Well, but that's the thing. If you're that dad and you see some letter or you may hear your daughter mention something that was said in class, you know what I mean? That's some crazy agenda that we've seen, man. Guess what? She's there 8 hours out of the day. She's spending more time with your teachers than you. They might have a more, you know what I mean? How do you want her to turn out? Or do you go into that school board meeting with a big fucking chest and you point your finger at those people and you say, this is why this is fucked up, and I got my 3 minutes, I'm going to use it, right? And then the second dad comes up, and then the third dad comes up, and they got 15 dads in a row, hopefully all 250 pounds, barrel-chested, right? And they say, damn, we might have misstepped because these parents are not taking that, right? If you know what I mean? But I don't want to be labeled as that guy, and I don't want to be, then they might think I'm a bigot, and then maybe my employer will hear about it, and since they're super woke employer, like maybe I'll get fired. Like, we have to stop thinking like that, because if you roll over and let it happen, then it's your own goddamn fault. And 30 years from now, if the society that your daughter's living in is completely different and there's no fucking pride in country and everything's been watered down and they've tried to create, this non-merit-based approach to everything, no more grades, no more this, the excellence of our country is fucking gone, and then everyone suffers. Everyone. Rich and poor. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think this is necessary, man, because when I read this, like when Zuckerberg put it out, I mean, I hope people realize how big of a fucking deal this is. This is it. This is proof. We all knew it, but this is literally the guy saying, yes, this did happen on numerous occasions. We know it happened with X because a bunch of those emails were subpoenaed, going directly to Twitter saying, hey, squash this, cancel this person's, Riley Gaines this, Tommy Lauren that, cancel them. I mean, it was deliberate. They were identifying people that were threats because these were the first people, especially the Riley Gaineses, they were the first people to start, raising their hand and saying, wait a second, I don't think that. And that's why I really admire her, I admire Sage, because they had the courage to be the first one to step forward. It's like when that grizzly bear's coming, They were the first ones to be able to all right, we're fucking scattering, man. You know what I mean? And then it created the conditions for other people to come in and say, no, I'm with her. I agree with her. But it takes less courage at that point because now you have people, to the left and the right of you. But there's some of these people that went it alone. And that's when the cancellation was the highest because there's only a few of them. Cancel them, move on.
And to tie up something you said, or to kind of call back something you said, and here's where who knows, but I am hopeful that Zuckerberg may be a good example of what I just said about slowly recognizing and then people hopefully forgiving and being all right, man, well, I appreciate. Now, who knows? There could always be malintent, but what you kicked off with, I actually agree with, is that he now has been on Lex Friedman several times, who Lex has had Trump's daughter, unafraid to, he's like a Rogan, unafraid to just have a wide range of people on. He's rolling jujitsu with these guys. He's rolling with Lex. He's rolling with, I think he even rolled with Joe. I'm not going to say that. I have no clue. I do know he rolled with Lex several times. Is these people now are getting exposed to outside of their little echo chamber, their bubble of thought. And I do think when that starts to, like you said, it's like a tipping point. And when that starts to happen, all of a sudden we've just changed the landscape of the way people are processing reality. And that's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Verdict's still out. I mean, there's still a lot they have to clean up. Even one of our influencers, Katie Knight, her account got shut down because she's doing the tactical games. It's a shooting competition. They're shooting steel targets or paper targets, right? That's how she makes money as an influencer, right? And they said, no, guns are bad. Play by the rules or we cancel you. And you know what I mean? Derek Wolf, you have to search his name exactly. So it's a pop up.
He is unafraid.
But again, hunting rights. Big tattooed, barrel chested dude that likes to shoot guns and is a family man, right? That's bad. You can't do that, right? So there's you still see it. So the verdict is out on whether this is genuine or if this is, oh shit, we know who's about to win by a landslide. We better get out ahead of this so they don't freaking destroy us once they're in power. Because, when there's billions of dollars at stake, you'll write any letter. I can get you to write a letter if I said, I'll give you $1 billion, right? Yeah. I'll transcribe it for you, right? So I hope it's genuine. I think it could be. But that is a domino back, in the right direction for the good guys. And you got Elon obviously doing his thing. You have people like Rogan that have huge platforms that are so big you almost can't cancel them now. We talked about kind of that person that's in between, they're not a Rogan yet, and it's all right, this guy's got 1 million followers, yeah, just cancel him. No one gives a shit, right? Whereas when you have someone with Rogan on a YouTube channel, or you can't cancel them or Spotify, you can't because it's that's such a big part of your business now.
And the uproar would just be
and that's where it's on an optimistic note that there are people that can kind of level the playing field a little bit and go against the giant powers that be behind the scenes, whether it be, big pharma, the industrial military complex, or anyone else that's pushing what we think is kind of this, it doesn't add up thing. You know what I mean? There's something more to this. I think we can all at least acknowledge that. That's where we have hope, but also just strengthen the masses. Because we're founded on a nation of rebellion, dude. That's how it fucking started. It is in our DNA to rebel. If there's injustice, we were the ones that had the balls to go across the Atlantic and seek out that dream that everyone was talking about that no one could really validate because it was this treacherous sail across the ocean. All the people that made that decision are predisposed through their DNA to have more balls and be more rebellious because that's again those are our ancestors, whether you like it or not. That's the descendants we come from. So that's the last bit of optimism I'll say is that if it ever came to it, that we're not going to be like, you got the UK right now, that people are starting to get arrested for social media posts, this and that. That if it gets to that, stand the fuck by, because there's a lot of dudes that served in the military or were in law enforcement or just middle America. We know our way around weapons, and we will not allow people to start imprisoning us over these things. And I hope it never gets to that because that would be very ugly. I don't think it will. I think we'll fix it. All right, Tone. Final thoughts. What do you got?
I'm good. I gave my closing dissertation. So
man, we were good on time, and then I just went off the rails, didn't I? 12:27.
Ooh, this might be our longest one ever.
All right, guys. Well, if you're still with us, I will apologize for taking us off the rails of I had literally 3 points I wanted to talk about, and then we put on tinfoil hats and just fucking went for it. And if my mom's listening, Mom, I'm sorry for all the F-bombs. I usually only have 1 or 2, and I think that one I might have been above about 20 or 30. So I'll I'll say a couple of our fathers after this and atone for my sins. But appreciate everybody tuning in. We'd love to hear your feedback. So please like and subscribe. Put us in our place. We want to be challenged too. This is how we all get better and we become more informed. None of us are perfect. And I think that's the whole idea, is just being open to other viewpoints and not holding contempt for those that differ from us, because it's rooted in different upbringings and different exposure to information and things like that. But ultimately, I think we all want the same thing. And if you have kids, it becomes it's all about them when that happens. And we just want to create an environment and a condition that they can live good lives without being inhibited by the government or other entities that are telling them they're bad, or that they can't do this or they have to do that. We just want freedom. That's the basis of all of this. And, uninhibited pursuit of the American dream, whatever that is for us. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.